know you guys out there watching, hopefully you've been following John and myself long enough to know that neither of us are the type to, you know, pimp or whore products. But this is something that I've been very excited about, and this is something that John's preached for a long time, and something that we want to throw out there to you because we think that a lot of you guys will ultimately benefit from this. Something I've been doing the past month as we've been developing this prototype of the product, and I gotta say, I've noticed a significant benefit. Ah! It's John's intra-workout formula, which is, you know, intra-workout nutrition is something that John has advocated strongly for years now. And I'm gonna let John take it away basically and explain a bit about the product. Again, you know, you guys hopefully know us well enough to know that we don't just, you know, slap our name on anything or you know, advocate anything just to you know, make a couple bucks. So rather that we're putting it out there because we think you guys would be genuinely interested in it.
If I were to ask you what's the most important thing in bodybuilding, is it training, is it nutrition, or is it drugs? You can take all the drugs you want, but if you don't train, nothing's going to happen. You can eat all the chicken breast you want, but if you don't train well, nothing's going to happen. Training is, to me, is what sets all this off. This is where you create a stimulus to grow. And properly done intra-workout nutrition allows you to train harder because you recover more. And the way we set up our workouts,
same way drugs work.
Yeah, same way drugs work. Enhanced recovery. This is allowing you to train more. It's allowing you to train harder. And you know, there's this. If you're trying to grow, there's this the very basic equation, right? Is you want more muscle protein synthesis than muscle protein breakdown. And the thing about when you train really, really hard is it's obviously catabolic. I use this analogy all the time. Evan and I were talking about this today. You're digging a ditch. You know, and the harder you train, the deeper you dig it. That's muscle protein breakdown. But if you can find a way to control it so the ditch isn't that far down, and then muscle protein synthesis, it's frustrating, you know, and I see this a lot with people, they train really hard, but they don't pay attention to their nutrients around their diet in general, or their nutrition around training. And just to get back to where they were is a job. So if you look at this logically, if you only dug that ditch 2 feet instead of 5 feet, now muscle protein synthesis, if you're doing the right things you need to do to create muscle protein synthesis, it's much easier now to grow. And this is how we've taken, you know, guys that are seemingly at their limits, you know, 30-some years old, upper 30s, and all of a sudden, in 6 months or a year, they accumulate a lot of new muscle, something they haven't been able to do before, and it's pretty phenomenal. So, you know, I'm extremely excited about the product.
Look at drugs, right? I mean, protein synthesis only tells half the story. I mean, a lot of drugs work not just because they're anabolic, but because there's a high anti-catabolic component to it, right?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, insulin is a prime example. Insulin is extremely anti-catabolic, and when we're training, we're using a carbohydrate in here, branched dextrin, that's basically absorbing right in your bloodstream. You know, they use enzymes to prepare this. It's not, you know, I hear people talk about, well, just use waxy maize, or just use maltodextrin, or just use dextrose. It's not the same. There's, you know, it sits in your stomach, people don't feel good, it has to digest. You don't get the same insulin response. And I haven't been able to duplicate this with food or with any other carbohydrate other than branched dextrin. But it's amazing. And again, insulin, you know, I think about the movie The Transporter. That's insulin. It transports. So, you know, what we put in our blood, the nutrients we're putting in our blood, are going to go into our muscle, thanks to the insulin response we get. And you wake up and you're like, man, I'm not sore. Did I train hard enough? And you start to wonder, am I even training hard enough?
That's when you start making progress, because there's times where it's like, man, I got a really, you know, dynamite workout, but I'm sore, you know, 5 days after it. By the time I get back to the gym and do legs again, I'm not stronger. You know what I mean? I can tell when I'm moving forward. And it's those times when I'm recovering, you know, I got a little bit of soreness for a day or two, but then I'm ready again. And that's when all of a sudden, week after week after week, the weight's climbing, your strength is climbing, and you know it's like you've got momentum.
Yes.
But it doesn't happen without, you know, if your recuperation isn't at peak, it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen.
So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And you know, look for the product. It's like I said, it'll make a difference. It's one of those products too that when you take it, you'll be able to tell. When you wake up and you're not sore and you just killed yourself the day before, that's when you know, okay, I got it. Now you know, this is working the way it's supposed to work.
What I like about it is it's not some newfangled thing where it's like it's, you know, some new compound that's going to put 15 pounds on you in 4 weeks. It's carbohydrates and a mix of amino acids. It works now and it's going to work 10 years from now. I like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's actually very basic. It's just you know,
basic.
They've just basically broken it down so that it's absorbed easier, and that's the difference.